Joining us now to talk about the primaries and what happens in November are Democratic strategist Tanya Acker in Los Angeles and Republican strategist Dan Bartlett in Austin, Texas. Good morning to you both.
Morning, Harry.
Good morning.
Dan, let's talk about this. You got Delaware, you got Kentucky, you got Alaska, you got Utah, one after another after another. Are all of these Tea Party victories good for the Republican Party?
Well, when you have a situation like with Mike Castle getting beat in Delaware, it obviously gives you pause because it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for Republicans now to gain that seat in the United States Senate. Having said that, though, Harry, the intensity gap that we're seeing between the two parties this election cycle is mainly being fed by the Tea Party movement on the Republican side. So net, it's still a gain. The prospect of taking over the House of Representatives would not happen without this vibrant activity within the Tea Party. So while you're going to have these types of anomalies like we saw last night with Mike Castle going down, net, I still think this is going to be a positive thing with a lot of long-term consequences.
Yeah, because even Karl Rove came out and said last night, that's not going to help us get this seat in the long run. Let's talk about this from a Democratic perspective. Tanya, as Democrats are watching this all unfold with the rancor and the derision within the Republican Party, with the Tea Party really catching fire out there, how do you view it?
Well, I think it really presents Democrats an opportunity. I mean, I think that they do have to be very careful. It's one thing simply to call a lot of these candidates extremists, which I happen to think they are, but I think that the Democratic message has to be bigger than that. The choice the country is going to be presented with is that between one party that seems to be auditioning for a talk radio show host. You've got folks like Sharon Angle saying things like taking up arms against the government, and whereas the Democrats want to talk about extending unemployment benefits and regulating Wall Street. So I think that the voters are going to have a very clear choice. And I do think that, Dan is right. There is something of an enthusiasm gap, but I think that more Democrats are going to be motivated to go to the polls when you hear what some of these Tea Party candidates are saying. I don't think most of the country wants to repeal
Dan,
this
is interesting, but you listen to Tanya, because I wonder if you're making a miscalculation at your own peril at, this perceived enthusiasm gap. These people are literally changing the face of a party. Dan?
Well, look, I mean, it is the case in the United States Senate with some of these candidate races. The candidate themselves is going to make a difference in whether there is a victory or a loss. But let's not lose historical sight here, and that is the first midterm election of a new president is a referendum on that White House and on that leadership. And what we're seeing right now is a rejection of how the governance by Democrats over the last 18 months has taken place, both in the White House and the United States Congress. And that's why Republicans, while they're going to have issues like they're seeing in Delaware, and there's going to be other candidates that are not going to represent the entire Republican Party, the bottom line is that right now things are shaping up for Democrats to be a very long night in November.
All right, and Tanya, very quickly, you have to confess there really is a kind of a throw the bums out mentality that has gotten some real traction.
Well, I think that movement, that mentality seems to be a relatively constant in Washington. But I think that what Democrats have to do is to demonstrate that they are interested in governing, not simply coming up with good sound bites for talk radio shows.
Well, we shall see. This is still unfolding even as we speak. Tanya Acker and Dan Bartlett, we do appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Harry.
All right.
Thanks.